G'day comrade subscribers. Should we have a go at getting the Miko-Spectrum working? Miko-Spectrum. So this is part two. I wasn't able to do much in part one because the power and the video output, for some bizarre reason, are using Soviet RG type connectors, which are totally unavailable as far as I'm aware in the West. So as you know, well, most regular subscribers will know, what we're used to seeing is DIN, usually 5-pin DIN sockets across the board, including for the DC input, sometimes even 7 pins, but normally 5-pin DIN. So it's interesting that they've gone for these RG connectors. Yeah, it's got RF video output. So we'll go through it quickly, so you don't have to dig up the old video. But we've got, let me just turn it around the right way and hold it up a bit closer. So we've got, and it's actually printed in English. So we've got RF output, we've got, sorry, I need to see it myself. We've got magnetophone, tape, then we've got the video, so RGB output. Then we have 3 joystick ports actually. So I think we've got a Kempston, and we've got S1 and S2. So I assume Sinclair 1, Sinclair 2. Yeah, not DE9, but we've got 5-pin DINs, and then we've got the 5-volt DC in, and we actually have a spare blank panel there, and then a reset button. So if I know it'll be unpopular if I pull one of these out and try and replace it, say a DIN socket would fit here for the video. There'll be some gaps, so it won't be perfect. For the power, I could just add a socket here, so I could leave this and I could just add a socket there, so power might be okay. I could maybe convert this just to baseband video, so just composite video output, and then worry about RGB later. So that way I can just put in power, check the baseband, see if we're getting something, you know, or whether we're going to have to do some repairs like the other backlog of machines. So we'll have a quick look in case you haven't watched the first video. It is a pretty shithouse keyboard, but I guess it does the job. I can hold it up a bit closer for you. So I guess it does the job. Lots of space actually. So metal. There's a metal plate here that does have some wear, so it's had some use. Hardwired connector, possibly an expansion bus, or maybe here, expansion bus down the front. Of course, not ZX Spectrum compatible. So, okay, yep. So that's come off for a start. That's right. I think that was off already. Was it me? Got a reset button there that. One of these things where the keyboard doesn't come off. So I don't know if that's been repaired or something, but it just, oh, maybe if I screw, there we go. Okay, now the reset button's working. So I guess it will screw together. It would work, but I could probably try and improve that. That does look original actually. It looks like it's kind of been melted in. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Least of our concerns. Boring red square capacitors. So yeah, so we could have a look here. We've got various wires in. So I don't know if we've got RGB sound and ground perhaps. Maybe, I don't know. Have to check, I'm not sure. But power is there. Power's pretty simple. Oh, okay, so we've got that there. So if I wanted to put another power socket there, that's kind of in the way, isn't it? I have to have a think about it. All right, well let's do. Oh, hang on, what's this? I'm always okay. All right, so it looks like capacitors have been removed. So I can see some So these would be over the chip capacitors. Looks like they've been chopped off. Not a big deal. So another one there. So there's three that are missing. Interesting. Missed that one. I assume they were after K1M. I think it was a K1M capacitor. They missed that one, I assume. Oh, that's the smallest. Is that a crystal? That's the smallest one I've seen. Right, okay, so it looks like we've got 3 decoupling capacitors maybe to reconnect or to put on, which isn't a problem. And then figure out the video. So looking at the UHF modulator, nothing that exciting, but it looks like, okay, so these two appear to be 5 volts in, so that's our power, because they basically have continuity to each other, so I assume they're 5 volts in, then this one's ground, so one of these is going to be audio and the other one's going to be video. So I'm going to just remove this whole section here. The where was it? This one here. So that was attached to the front panel. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, just remove this, which looks like it's just got a strap. Looks pretty easy actually. Just those two. I can remove the can. I don't need 5 volts. I basically just need one of these two, whichever one's got the video out. And then I'll connect up power, which is over here, and then we'll just see if we get a video or some sort of signal out. So I've got one side off. There we go. Okay, that's off. So like I said, it's either, I think it's either one of these is going to be, one's going to be audio, one's going to be video, I assume. The other one's ground and power, I assume. So I'll get rid of yep. Anyway, getting there. I'm almost ready to give it a try. So, like I think one of these is audio, one of these is video. So I'll soon find out. Now that I've removed the modulator, I could almost put a small piezo speaker here, and it'll have internal sound. Let's see, what else have I done? So I've disconnected the power, and I've just got a 2.1 mil ready to go. I reconnected this capacitor, and I've just got to do these ones. So where did the bad man hurt you, little one? He hurt you there, he hurt you there, and he hurt you there. Then didn't hurt you anywhere else, did he? Yeah, left you alone? Alright, so I'll just replace some of those with I guess axial. They'll fit nicely. Ooh, let's see if it works. I think that is everything. So I've got the new decoupling caps on across those 3 rails. Yeah, so if you haven't watched the first video, so we've got, this is the Z80, so it's a Soviet one, KR1858VM1, 1993. I think these are the ROMs. I think these are 8K each, so that's 16K of ROM. And a whole bunch of other Soviet chips. So I don't think anything Western in this one at all. So I think the latest date I saw was a 94 somewhere, or I think so. That's what I said in my. Oh, that's the RAM here, KR565RU5V. So this is 64 in a nice diagonal row. 64 kilobytes of RAM here. So I rub my finger all over it. Yep, I know, don't do that. Okay, time to give it a try. So I'm assuming there's no internal speaker, that on the video out we've also got audio out. So just to add to complications, there's a lot of bloody wires here for RGB, sync, ground, and sound. Awful lot of wires. But yeah, let's see. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Alright, so I'm not really seeing any activity on the Z80 again. Surprise, surprise. So oscillator is working, it seems. So look at the crystal. Crystal's 8.87 megahertz or 9 megahertz. That's the crystal. And then I assume there's a K555, what's that, LN1? Is that similar circuit to what we were looking at for on the Covants? I'm just randomly choosing, so it's about 3 megahertz signal there. That looks like a decent clock, doesn't it? 1 volt, 1 volt per division. So that's 2.956. I think that's the same. Oh no, no, that's the same next to it. 8.86. So I can't remember what the clock is off the top of my head. Pin on the Z80, so I'm gonna have to look that up. But we're not getting any video. Is that something? I don't think so. Come on. Sorry, dead air again. Nah, it's nothing. Nothing there, just noise. Yep, alright. I'll get the Z80 pin out. Oops, sorry. Let's continue troubleshooting. So that's where I was checking before. The crystal and this chip here. It's a K555 LN1, I think. So it seemed to be a good clock signal. This is the Z80 here. It's a Soviet clone. So I will have a look on here. So this is 2.5 mil pitch. So I can't directly replace it. I do have, thanks to Charles, it's something I've been meaning to do for a while, create a Soviet 2.5 to Imperialist 2.54 converter board, but he whipped one up for me, so he's made it available on his GitHub. I've got some boards on their way, so in a week or two, hopefully, I'll be able to try it out. So I won't, if it is the Z80, then I won't replace it today. But I'll try it out with one of the converter boards. But yeah, so I'll have a look on the Z80. So I say we do seem to have a clock signal there. We'll see what we've got here and check also the data pins. Actually, before we do that, let's just, so I've got it set to 5 volts in, which is what it expects. So we've got 610 milliamps. Let's just check the voltage at the input. So voltage at the input is 3.94 volts. So we've lost a volt. Jeez. So let's go 6 volts. Okay, up to 750 milliamps. And we're at 4.6 volts. 7 volts. Oh, nearly an amp. Now we're at 5.3 volts. Let's go down to 6.5 maybe. Okay, 890 milliamps. And we've got 4.9, so 5 volts in now. So we'll leave it at 6.5. And yeah. Let's check some things. Okay, let's just check where the video signal might be, just in case there's something magically happening. Nothing there. Oh, looks a little bit more promising, doesn't it? Ah, that's looking better. So we actually do have, that looks a bit more of like a video signal, doesn't it? What do you reckon? That's looking much better. So it was just, voltage was too low. Now stop jumping around. Yeah, what do you reckon? Is that, so this other one is maybe, I'm just pressing buttons on the keyboard to see if it's going to make a sound or, you know, see if we're going to see anything. maybe not. All right, okay, so we might have a video signal. Okay, so I'll be able to test that. Let's just have a quick look at the clock on the Z80, pin 6, so pin 1, which is A11, that might be doing something. So pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, pin 4, pin 5, pin 6, which is clock. Come on. Come on, come on. Alright, so that looks like we do have a clock, maybe. What am I doing? There, okay. So that's the clock signal. Oof. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, lost it. Let me just push it there. So that's the clock signal. Alright. 6 megahertz? 5.9 megahertz? Seems a bit high for a Spectrum, doesn't it? Okay. So that's pin 6. So that's pin 7, D4, the pin next to it. We got any sort of activity there? Well, we do seem to have a video signal. Just hook it up to a composite, just see if we get something, Brett. Come on. Okay, constantly high. So that's D4. All right, sod it. So let's just go back to that video-ish signal. Oh, some other chips are getting warm now. Okay. Okay, let's go auto again. That looks good, doesn't it? I think that kind of looks like what we want. I think. So let's try and hook it up to a screen and see if we get some sort of output. Okay. Moment of truth. I've got the composite hooked up how I think it should be. Power on. And nothing. Awesome. That's annoying. That was definitely the one. Definitely nothing there. Oh, it did think about it, doesn't it? The no signal just disappears as I reconnect it. Never simple. Sorry, let me zoom out a bit. It does kind of want to think about it, doesn't it? Just when I touch it, it says, oh, there is something there. It's just not grabbing onto it. Alright, so there is some issue. It almost looks right. Bugger. Alright. Well, there is that shithouse clock. Pressing keys on the keypad, on the keyboard, not making any difference. Alright. Sorry, guys. Let's keep looking. Alright, well, let's check the video signal again. I think it's drawing a bit more power than it was before, so let's have a look again. That's nothing. That's basically nothing, isn't it? No wonder it couldn't latch onto anything. That's not what we got before. I know with the Spectrum, for example, if you want to get baseband out or composite out from the UHF modulator, you need to add an electrolytic in to cut out the DC, but there's no DC there, is there? Because that's we go. Oh, I need to find that picture again. What a composite signal looks like. But I don't think there's no DC component there, is it? Or is this the DC component? I'll have to look at the picture. But that's not the same as what we had before, so that's why we're not getting anything now. What has changed? Huh. What about if I drop the voltage at 6.5 volts, 6.49, I drop it to 5.5, okay, and it just stops working altogether. 6.5, oh, 7.5. Okay. Let me just do auto. That looks interesting. Let me just move where's the trigger? Move the trigger down here. Try and catch. Oh no, I'll move the trigger. I'll move this trigger level up here. There we go. That looks like color information, doesn't it? Whoops, sorry. Press some keys on the keyboard. I don't know if that's going to make any. What do you reckon? So that's at 7.5 volts now. All right, well, let me re-hook the TV back up again. See if we get a video signal. All right, I'm just going to do this handheld. I'm not going to fiddle around with the tripod again. All right, I've got it connected up again. 7.5 volts. Turn the screen on. No? Come on, man. Power off, power on. Alright, check the signal again. Alright, did that degrade a little bit? I'm not an expert, but that kind of does look like a composite signal, doesn't it? Ah, lost it. .500 millivolts division. Or is it just that, or do we have, okay, do we have a DC component? Maybe we do have a DC. Maybe I need to run it through an electrolytic. I've been pushing too hard on this. Because that doesn't... I'm not sure. All right. I need to have a think about it. All right, let's have one more go before I go to bed. Okay. All right, so from my understanding, correct me when I'm wrong, just don't be a arsehole about it. So, sink level, front porch, back porch, color burst, something else, and then the white level, so 0.5 volt per division. So that's 1 volt. Actually, so that should be 1 volt peak to peak there, I think. From that's the black level, isn't it? That's the black level, that's the white level, 1 volt peak to peak. So it kind of looks right, but still, well, my LCD doesn't like it. Which, okay, is maybe it's the LCD that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem. So let me just, it does look a bit, I'm using different BNC cable. There's the trigger level, let's put the trigger level up there. No, that makes it even worse. Does look quite noisy actually, doesn't it? But let's say I'm using a different probe. So the noise could be coming from the probe itself. So I'm not expecting so much. I would have thought that because it's a mostly white screen, so it should just be fully white. So that doesn't look like a correct signal, I don't think. Why is my cable so bad? Let me switch to the other cable. Let's try again. See, that's not as noisy, but still I don't think the signal looks correct, does it? Ah, there we go. That's what I was trying to capture. So that's not right, is it? For a mostly white screen. So sync level, is it? Color burst. This is too, yeah, that's too long, isn't it? That's too long. That shouldn't be so long. And then we've just got random data there. Yeah, that's not a proper signal at all, that's just random data. It's random noise almost. So that's why I'm not getting any. It's trying to output something. Oh, it could be that there's no video data to output. That's another thing, I guess. A little bit more fiddling around. One last look at the Z80. So again, we'll look at pin 6, the clock. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa. I don't think that clock looks right. 6 megahertz. That's not right, is it? It just does not. I don't think that looks right. When compared to the compared to that chip, that looks much nicer. Okay, so that's 3 megahertz. That might be an output, I guess. That's 1 point. Oh, that's 3 megahertz. See, that looks, and there's decent DC there. But when you look at the clock on the, sorry, just on the Z80 end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That looks pretty shithouse in my opinion. And again, we look at D4, pin 7. I don't think there's any activity there. D3, pin 8. So it's not doing anything. There's no data going anywhere. Pin 11, which is 5 volts in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. 2, so that's actually 6 volts, isn't it? So I've still got 7.5 volts in. That's 6.5 volts. That's 5.5 volts. That's 6.5 volts in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Power off, power on. Yeah, the clock doesn't look right. IRQ, pin 20. Nothing. Memory request, pin 19. Okay, well that looks alright. Well, it looks better, doesn't it? That's doing something. Halt, pin 18. This is where I have the problem again. So it's an active low, and it's low. So that means the Z80's halted again, doesn't it? That's NMI pin 17. Actually, what about if I press the interrupt button? Doesn't do anything. Okay, now that's halt now, which is active, which is high. Okay, that's memory request. Okay, now that's the address line. So that's A11. So now we've got activity. So definitely when pin 18 is low, it's doing something. Let's have a look at the video signal again. Oh, I'm just going to have to do auto. Sorry, this is dragging on. See that? Okay, that looks right, doesn't it? That's kind of like a white, pure white screen. quickly connect up my composite video cable, and we're going to get an image out. Sorry, I'm just quickly checking if I'm going to get an image out. And no, I don't. Let's have another quick look. Did I miss it somehow? No? Okay, but still not happy. Okay, no, that's looking degraded. Alright, I'm going to call it a night. I need to think a bit. Well, of course, you guys can tell me exactly what's wrong with it. So I definitely was getting activity, but then when I tried to get the video output, there was nothing on the screen. That chip's warm. Is that a KR556 RT2? Might be one of these specialized chips. Yeah, okay. Well, there we go. We made a start on the troubleshooting for this wonderful machine. To be continued. Thanks for hanging around. Bye for now.